wife. She's the one, the motivator behind it. You're welcome. I know you didn't know that.
My ears turn red.
I would like to just say a few things to y'all about him. First of all, Jim Farrell, who does LPS in Orange County, a great guy, and he's fighting on a certain level on having people under 53, 58.5, getting that instituted in Orange County. But he was supposed to be here. He had his hand operated on yesterday, and when they knock you out, you can't drive for 24 hours. And he didn't realize that was going to happen. I said, don't worry about it. We'll be just fine. But he had sent something, and I'm going to read what he wrote. Then I'm going to say a little bit of something, too. Anthony, we're gathered here today to show recognition for the monumental efforts you've made to bring changes to the treatment regimen of those with mental illness. Not just in your community, not just in your county, but for all those with a mental illness across the entire country. When the courts treated your son with a lack of understanding of mental illness, you reached out to learn more about mental illness and the laws regarding mental illness, and stood up to the courts to correct and shame them for their ignorance of the law. Your love for your son and your passion to bring change for your son's outcome led you to tell your story to anyone and everyone that would listen. Newspapers, meetings, and any location that had anything to do with mental health issues would find you there, speaking of your son, speaking to the needs of better mental health laws. In fact, they just had an article in the San Bernardino Times about them, this is his wife, Cynthia, both of them, it's not his girlfriend. Could be that too. You crossed into countless counties across California, and ultimately you shouted out your son's story to legislators, ultimately to Congressman Tim Murphy, and I'm going to mention that in a second. That's really important. Why did it not surprise me when you were invited to the Hill to speak out to the House of Congress? There was no geographical boundary that was able to stand in your way to tell your story, to improve the lives of all families that live with this dreaded thing called mental illness. Your relentless drive was a part of what drove the H.R. 2646 law that was passed. That was the Helping Families in Mental Health Crisis to successfully pass the law. On behalf of the families here today and the families across America, we present you this award for you with a heartfelt thanks for all that you have done for us. Cynthia gets to put in her 2 cents. Would you like to go first?
Sure.
You knew this, right?
It was hard to keep the secret, but you know, when we suffered our tragedy in 2014, the first thing that we realized was that we survived for a reason, and the reason is that we want to help any other families to prevent this type of tragedy from happening. So what my husband did was he founded the Transforming Treatable Tragedies website. He called on people to sign a petition. We were out in Capitol Hill, and it's not without his hard work, his tears. It was a difficult thing for us to have to go out there and publicly tell people our story, our tragedy, but we are hoping that with our story, we can prevent families such as yours from experiencing this type of tragedy. So I just want to commend my husband and his hard work and his compassion, because this is truly from the heart. This is something that we suffered in our family. This is something that mental illness has plagued our family. He has a few brothers with mental illness, severe mental illness. So this is something that he feels very passionate about, and I'm very proud to call him my husband, and very grateful to Gail, because without Gail, she was very monumental in getting us to meet Congressman Tim Murphy. Without all of you being here, without those that come and educate families, we would feel alone and isolated, but we're not alone. We have each other, and we are here for you all. If you have any questions, we just want you to know that this is what we're here for now. We're here to help other families to prevent this type of tragedy from happening.
Why don't you say your website out loud for everybody?
The name of the website is transformingtreatabletragedies.org.
www.transformingtreatabletragedies.org. I have business cards, and I will also provide you with information as well.
Yeah. Okay, my turn?
Your turn.
I have a strong faith in God, and I think God always touches us. I know Sharon was the one that touched me, and because of her, I do what I do. And I will tell you, we had one meeting, the Abby Sewell, who was a writer with the LA Times, came and joined us at this one meeting. It was the first time she came. It was the first time Anthony and Cynthia came to our meeting. We had, at that time, we had 80 people. I know we didn't this time because of the rain. The messages this went out kind of late and everything. But Anthony and Cynthia were sitting right next to Abby. And Abby was there to listen to our stories, not to write about anybody or anything at all like that. Within a few days, their tragedy happened where their son, bless his heart, was delusional, felt he was God, and he was going to take his parents to heaven that day. And so he acted on his delusion. He was trying to kill them, and Dad, you've got to die. You know, and as he's fighting him off because he knew if he did die, his son would be lost forever in the prison system. So he had to fight him out, stay alive to get his son the help. But it was amazing because here, Abby was there. He called me the next day. Abby went to his house to interview him. He called me. We had to be in court for our son, so we just couldn't go. I wanted to, but we couldn't. And within a few days after that, I had a call from a lady in Riverside County who's with Nami over there. She was a Nami president, Linda Ditter, who we got concerned for her daughter. And she called me and she said she was invited and she could invite one other person to go see Representative Tim Murphy. He was in San Diego. This was going to be the very next day. And she wanted me to come. And I said, well, I'd like to invite somebody else. She said, I don't think we have room. I said, I don't care, I'll step out of the meeting, but I want them in that meeting. So she said, well, go ahead. So we all got to go inside the meeting, and it was like 20, 25 people in that meeting. We took them, they were prepared. They had a guest speaker for Tim. Guest speaker didn't speak after they heard him. Cynthia and her husband spoke about what had happened with Tim Murphy. They were invited to the Hill. He's good friends with Tim Murphy now. Now, Tim Murphy is a representative, congressional representative from Pennsylvania, who put together the Helping Families in Mental Health Crisis Act. Most of your laws are for people that understand they have an illness, they'll ask for help, or you can encourage them to ask for help. Ours are the voiceless. They have no voices for them, and nobody listens. And Tim Murphy is speaking out for the voiceless. And they just passed, a couple weeks ago, H.R. 2646, which was joined with another bill, H.R. 6, which was the 21st Centuries Act, as more or less the funding for all of this, to change the laws. And so Anthony is going to speak today about what we can expect to be happening because the law has been passed, has been signed by the president. He was at the signing and the parties for that signing because that's for Tim Murphy to be elected to Congress and to get that bill passed. Unbelievable. It was a miracle. It really was. But let me tell you, every one of y'all were to be congratulated because when our people, we were talking about the bill, they called their legislators. I would send out emails, and I try not to drown you in emails, but every one of y'all were calling your legislators and you were telling them to pass that bill. And you're calling your relatives in different parts of this country and different parts of the county in LA. Call these people and tell them to call. We had so many people doing it, but that it did make a difference. They heard us. And not only that, we didn't get everything we want, but we got definitely everything we needed was on there. It opens now the doors for getting more passages, especially the killing in Fort Lauderdale at the airport. I heard the newscaster say, well, his parents should have been a little bit more stronger in taking them to the doctor and making him go. A 26-year-old man. Now you tell me, can you do that with your kid? Because I can't. I mean, I wish I could, but I can't. And so the laws are going to be changing. We're going to see differences. So anyway, I'm going to be quiet. Congratulations.
Thank you so
I
much.
think that's
Thank
so
you.
wonderful. I wanted to put both of their names on it because both of them